Russian President Vladimir Putin, who has previously refused to budge on Russia's key territorial and security demands, stated on Friday that the U.S. plan could form the basis of a final resolution to the nearly four-year-old conflict. He said Kyiv was against the plan, but neither it nor its European allies understood the reality of Russian advances in Ukraine.
Yes, please, Valentina.
Yes, right now, the Trump plan for addressing the ongoing crisis, which is made up of a comprehensive set of 28 specific points, is actively and increasingly entering into the broader global debate on this important issue. Could I ask you, before we begin, to review the main policy issues and share your opinion on this plan and how it relates to your recent negotiations with Trump and Rezko?
Yes, of course, there is no secret here. We have hardly discussed this publicly, only in the most general terms. But it's not a secret at all. President Trump's peace plan for resolving the situation in Ukraine was discussed before the meeting in Alaska. And during these preliminary discussions, the American side asked us to make certain compromises to show, as they put it, flexibility. The main point of the meeting in Alaska, the main goal of the meeting in Alaska, was that during the negotiations in Anchorage, we confirmed that despite certain difficult issues, complications on our side, nevertheless, we agree with these proposals and are ready to show the flexibility that was suggested to us. On all these issues, we have thoroughly informed all our friends and partners in the global south, including the People's Republic of China, India, and the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, South Africa, Brazil, many other countries, and of course the CSTO countries as well. All our friends and partners, I want to emphasize this, all of them without exception, supported these possible agreements. However, we see that after the negotiations in Alaska, there was a certain pause on the American side. And we know that this is connected to an effective refusal by Ukraine of the peace settlement plan proposed by President Trump. I believe that is precisely why a new version appeared, essentially a modernized plan now consisting of 28 points. We have this text. We received it through the existing channels of communication with the American administration. I believe that it too can be included in the main text. It is not being discussed. And I can suggest why. I believe the reason is the same. The US administration has so far been unable to secure the consent of the Ukrainian side. Ukraine is against it. Apparently, Ukraine and its European allies are still under certain illusions and continue to dream of inflicting a significant defeat on Russia, a strategic defeat on the battlefield. I think the basis for such a position is not so much a low level of competence, though I won't discuss that aspect now, but most likely this position is due to a lack of objective information about the situation, the real situation on the battlefield. And apparently neither in Ukraine nor in Europe do they understand. What could this ultimately lead to? Just one of the most recent examples is Kupiansk. Not long ago, as we remember, on November 4th, just 2 weeks ago, there were public statements in Kyiv claiming that there were no more than 60 Russian servicemen in this city, and that within the next few days, as was said, the city would be completely unblocked by Ukrainian forces. But I want to inform you that already at that time, on November 4th, the city of Kupiansk was almost entirely and completely under the control of the Russian armed forces. Our guys, as they say, were just finishing up, clearing only certain neighborhoods and streets. The fate of the city had already been completely decided by that point. What does this tell us? Either the Kyiv leaders do not have objective information about the situation at the front, or having it, they are simply unable, they cannot objectively assess it. If Kyiv does not want to discuss President Trump's proposal and refuses to do so, then both they and the European warmongers must understand that the events that took place in Kupiansk will inevitably be repeated in other key sectors of the front. Maybe not as quickly as we would like, but inevitably this will happen again. And overall, this suits us because it leads to achieving the goals of the special military operation by military means, through armed struggle. But as I have said many times before, we are also ready for peaceful negotiations to resolve the issues by peaceful means. However, this of course requires a substantive discussion of all the details of the proposed plan. We are ready for this.
Zelenskyy warned that Ukraine risked losing its dignity and freedom or Washington's backing over a U.S. peace plan that endorses key Russian demands.
Ukrainians, men and women, in the life of every nation, there comes a moment when everyone needs to speak honestly, calmly, without speculation, rumors, gossip, or anything unnecessary. Just as things are, just as I always try to speak with you. Right now is one of the most difficult moments in our history. Right now, the pressure on Ukraine is among the greatest we've ever faced. Now, Ukraine may be facing a very difficult choice, either the loss of dignity or the risk of losing a key partner, either a complicated 28 points or an extremely hard winter, the hardest yet, and further risks. A life without freedom, without dignity, without justice. And for us to trust the one who has already attacked us twice.
Asked about Zelenskyy's comment, Trump said he had told Zelenskyy at an Oval Office meeting in February that the Ukrainian leader didn't have the cards to end the conflict solely on his terms.
I've spoken with their people. We have a plan. It's horrible what's happening. It's a war that should have never happened. It would have never happened if I was president, and it's a shame. And I thought they should have acted quicker. But it's a cold winter, and a lot of the you talk about utilities, but a lot of the big energy-producing plants have been under attack, to put it mildly, to put it nicely. Yeah, we have a way of getting peace, or we think we have a way of getting peace. He's going to have to approve it. Just so sad, so many people. You know, last month they lost 25,000 soldiers. This is something, we haven't seen anything like this since the Second World War. And they're averaging 6,000 or 7,000 a week between the two of them, dead soldiers. And it goes on, and I think they're getting reasonably close, but I don't want to predict. I would have said that would have been one of my early ones. I did 8 peace deals of countries, including in India, Pakistan. You could even go, in fact, they're coming here in a week or two, go to the Congo and Rwanda. That was 10 million people dead, and we worked something out on that. But so many, and the one I thought would have been, for me, because I have a very good relationship with President Putin, I thought that would have been maybe quicker. But it does take 2 to tango. And now you just see all the death. And, you know, it doesn't affect us other than the fact that we don't want to see all those people. That really, it's on the other side of the ocean. It's a war that should have never happened. It did happen. I blame the person also sitting right behind this desk. This is a war that should have never happened, and it wouldn't have happened if I were president. But we're trying to save a lot of lives. They're losing 25, think of that, 25,000 lives over the last short period of time. That's Ukrainian and Russian, and it's a shame.
What you also about this Ukraine plan?
Yeah.
President Zelenskiy said today that his country would risk either giving up a partner or giving up its dignity. There's been criticism that this deal...
You mean he doesn't like it?
It's unclear. He was sort of
Well,
pretending...
he'll have to like it, and if he doesn't like it, then, you know, they should just keep fighting, I guess, you know.
The suggestion that he made, though, was that if he doesn't accept it, that the U.S. would pull back its support for Ukraine. Is that
Well, at some
accurate?
point he's going to have to accept something. You know, he hasn't accepted. You remember right in the Oval Office not so long ago, I said, you don't have the cards. Don't forget, I inherited this war. I would have never, this war never would have happened. I inherited this war. And I thought he should have made a deal a year ago, 2 years ago. The ultimate deal would have been if it never started. That would have been the good deal. That could have been done too if you had the right president, but you didn't have the right president.